welcome into Weekend Recharge. I had so much fun reading those headlines. That was good stuff. I'm LaRosa.
And I'm Paul Goodlow. 6 days and counting until Christmas. We have, what, 2 days and counting before winter officially begins? But hey, it finally starts to feel like winter across the eastern half of the nation for a change. It's cold from the Great Lakes all over the Gulf Coast.
Absolutely. We want to save you from that and show you where those hot spots and the cold spots are going to be with your snapshot, the big picture of all the big stories that we're covering for you today. And you can see the players on the board here. We have more rain and snow across the west. It is cool and clear, but you can't forget the lake effect. Not so clear in the northeast, parts of the northeast anyway. So we'll talk about the timing of that and how much is going to add up. But south of those boundaries is still relatively warm despite the brief cool down, and we do mean brief. So we're going to talk about just how low those temperatures will go and, of course, what that means for the upcoming holiday.
Yeah, and again, with this cold air coming off the Great Lakes, lake effect snow machine finally on and cranking in Erie, Pennsylvania this morning. Spots already picking up nearly 3 inches of snow.
All right, we want to check in. Speaking of, we're starting to sound a lot like a broken record, right? Talking about all of the records that we've broken this month. We have set more than 2,400 record highs and 3,400 record trying to get and enjoy this, and so they're not in the close quarters. So there is that good and bad. All right, no matter what side of it you're on, we've got more warm, and that's the case as we get into this week ahead. Now, we've had a dip in the jet stream this weekend, and that's allowed some of that cooler air to come in. But notice as we get into the middle part of the next week where we have the cold air, it's going to be limited. But you see where there's a dip, what goes down must come up, and we see another bubble up here on the eastern half of the U.S., and that means more warmth. Those temperatures are going to be going back up. So we get you through the week. Monday here, 5 to 25 degrees above average, and the core of that 25 right there along the Mississippi River Valley. And eventually you see that shift into the Ohio Valley, into the Northeast. You see hot pink on there. So we're going to be looking at, by Friday, Christmas Day, a good portion of the eastern half of the country, at least 20 to 25 degrees above average. Let's crunch the numbers. Pittsburgh, your 7-day forecast. Keep in mind that line right there, average high 39 degrees. Do you see anywhere near that on this timeline here? Nope, straight through next weekend as we start to count down 2015, which is just remarkable. Atlanta too, average high 53 degrees. Nowhere near that the entire week as temperatures are into the 70s. And you see Nashville in the same boat, the average high 49. We're going to be into the 70s as we get towards Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, into that last weekend of 2015.
Hey, new golf clubs for Christmas. Could actually use them on Christmas, but it's not just the warmth. We're also bringing some precip.
What I love when we tell these stories is the overwhelming theme is the community. It's sometimes awful to think that something like that happens, but you always see a story ending like that.
Yeah, the best of people come out during the worst of times, and we see that time and time again.
Yeah. Well, still to come here on Weekend Recharge. It is 1/2 the hour now as Weekend Recharge rolls on. I'm LaRosa.
And I'm Paul Goodlow. A reaction to the lake effect snow is kind of a mixed bag. Some people were thrilled to see it, others not so much. In fact, a lot of people across the Northeast already saving a lot of money on their heating.
This, Paul, you know, first snow, first a little bit, no matter if you're used to it or not, it's still tough to drive in. You gotta slow your roll out there. So let's look at the top 3 stories we're covering for you. Number 1, the Christmas week warmth. Boy, is it going to be warm. 2, the lake effect snow. And story number 3, the rainy Christmas week that we've got across a lot of the country. So let's start with that warmth. I mean, this is, I think, a repeat from last weekend, which was a repeat from the weekend before, right? 20 to 30 degrees above average, the eastern half of the U.S. We'll see that continue as we get into the end of the week, but not before we get a good healthy dose of lake effect. We're talking about maybe a foot or more in spots, so we'll time that out for you. And as we mentioned, the wet, the green Christmas for some of us, as showers and thunderstorms will be rolling through the next few days, and we'll time this out as well. But of course, we do have areas that not only is it cold, but it's cold enough for snow, and boy, those lakes are wide open for business.
Yeah, in fact, the lake effect snow warnings are up for 3 states this morning: New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio. As much as a foot of snow can fall in some of these bands.
All right, let's check